Mr. President, in the run-up to last year's elections, Republicans made some promises to the American people. We promised to turn the page on the failures of the last 4 years, to help working families and to get our economy moving, to make our country stronger and more secure. And last week, Mr. President, we delivered legislation that will help fulfill those promises. That starts with permanent tax relief for hardworking Americans. Back in 2017, during the first Trump administration, Republicans passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, legislation that cut Americans' tax rates, doubled the child tax credit, and nearly doubled the standard deduction. But without action from Congress, a substantial part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act would have expired this year. And that would have meant a huge tax hike for hardworking Americans, some $2,500 for people in my state of South Dakota. Mr. President, we were determined not to let that happen. Not next year, not ever. And I am proud that our bill permanently extends all of the individual tax relief from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That means lower tax rates for every income level permanently, an enhanced $2,200 child tax credit that's now linked to inflation, and the higher standard deduction. And we did more than that. We included no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, an even bigger standard deduction for seniors, and new investment accounts that will help the next generation get a running start on their American dream. In a word, the American people will be able to keep more of their hard-earned money instead of sending it to the federal government in Washington. And they will have the freedom to spend, invest, and save more of their own money how they see fit. Mr. President, in addition to providing permanent relief for American families, our bill is about getting our economy moving again. The 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act had our economy firing on all cylinders. More jobs, higher wages, companies large and small investing in America. The 2017 tax cuts transformed the tax code so that it encouraged growth, and it worked. But not all of that reform was permanent until now. Now, with the bill we passed last week, all of the 2017 pro-growth reforms are a permanent fixture of our tax code. That includes lower rates for small and medium-sized businesses, the job-creating 199A small business deduction, and investment incentives that free up cash for small businesses, farmers, and ranchers to invest in their operations and in their employees. And once again, we went even further than the 2017 reforms. We included full expensing for new factories and factory improvements to fuel economic growth and made in America goods and jobs. And we included an even higher death tax threshold that will spare more family farms, ranches, and businesses from a potentially devastating tax, not to mention the expense of planning for it. Mr. President, any bill that is about a stronger and more prosperous America would be incomplete if it didn't make America's farmers and ranchers stronger. Agriculture is the lifeblood of this country, but the last few years have been incredibly challenging for our agricultural producers. And our bill tackles those challenges head-on by bolstering programs that farmers and ranchers depend upon. It raises reference prices for every covered commodity. It expands crop insurance coverage and affordability. And it supports risk management, disaster assistance, conservation programs, and critical research and disease prevention programs that are essential to a robust agriculture sector. Mr. President, with this bill, Republicans are also making America more secure. We are ending the era of open borders by making a generational investment in border security. We are finally finishing the border wall. We're hiring more border agents and giving them the tools they need to keep illegal immigrants and illegal drugs out of our country. And we're hiring more ICE officers and enhancing our capacity, I should say, to detain and deport criminal illegal immigrants who have taken up residence in our country. We're also making a major investment to bolster our national defense and build a military that can defeat the threats of today and tomorrow. We're boosting shipbuilding, expanding our Air Force fleet, and investing in drones and counter-drone technology. We're restoring our defense production capacity so that we can make more munitions here in America. We're protecting the homeland with missile defense and nuclear modernization, and more. Our bill is no substitute for robust yearly defense funding, but it gives us a head start on the long-term investments necessary to turn our readiness deficiencies around and ensure that America's military is the strongest in the world for years to come. Mr. President, one often overlooked part of our national security is our energy security. And our legislation will help ensure that America has a reliable and affordable energy supply for the long term. Our bill also helps deliver on Republicans' promise of a smaller and smarter government. Our bill achieves $1.5 trillion in bird-compliant savings, including the first real entitlement reform in decades, reform that will put the programs in question on a more sustainable path for today's recipients and for tomorrow's. Mr. President, I am proud that Republicans are delivering on our promises to the American people, and I can't wait to see our policies begin working to help build a safer, a stronger, and a more prosperous country. Mr. President, it's going to be great.